Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to do a drugstore sweat-proof summer makeup tutorial. Obviously summer is right around the corner. Here in LA it's already pretty hot, so I want to do something that's going to be comfortable to wear in the summertime without it being too boring, I guess. Yeah, so we're just gonna get right into it. For skin, I'm going to be prepping with the Simple Replenishing Moisturizer. I like this because it contains glycerin, so it makes your makeup last. But it is lightweight, so it's going to keep your skin nice and matte. It's not gonna let excess oil break through throughout the day. And I just get it at Target. So, affordable, I think it's like $6. For foundation, I'm gonna be using the Maybelline Matte and Poreless. Some of you guys know I've been trying this recently. Revlon Color Stay is my favorite foundation, my favorite drugstore foundation, but I'm giving this a go. Oh my god, I just poured the whole bottle out. And it's matte, so it's perfect for people who are kind of oily. My skin type is normal to oily, but when it's really, really hot, that's when my oil starts to break through. And I'm going to be applying this with my Real Techniques makeup sponge. So I usually use a brush first to place this on my skin, but this time around I'm just gonna start picking it up with the sponge and then start really lightly working it into the skin because I don't wanna go too overboard. I do want this to be really lightweight. So I'm not looking for really heavy coverage here. I'm just doing a little bit of color correcting, and if we have to spot conceal later on, we can. If you think your skin needs more coverage, I would recommend Revlon Color Stay. Is one of my favorite drugstore foundations, and it has excellent coverage. Now that we have a nice even layer all over the skin, I'm going to turn my sponge and I'm going to use a clean side just to pick up any excess and kind of pat whatever's left over into the skin. You're really just evening out your skin tone. I have a few little spots here and there along my jawline and everything, but I want to keep this like kind of natural, so I'm not going to address them. If you do want to spot conceal, you can. I'm trying to decide which concealer I should use. I think the Revlon Color Stay is going to be way too light, so maybe I'll try the Maybelline Age Rewind. But just so you guys know, my favorite foundation now has a color concealer, and I'm really excited to use this, but I think it's definitely going to be too light for this look. So I'm going to be going in with the Instant Age Rewind Concealer. This is in the shade Neutralizer. And I'm just going to do a little bit along the sides of my nose and right underneath my eye. Just like little areas that I want to highlight and conceal, but we're keeping it lightweight here. I feel very insecure not going in with my Tarte Shape Tape. I like this concealer. It's actually kind of similar to the Tarte Shape Tape, but I would say a little more lightweight, not quite as full coverage. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn my sponge and pat that into the skin. For brows, I'm going to be using the Top Brow Brow Cream by Kiss. This is in the shade Taupe. You guys have seen me use this in a couple tutorials. It is $7. I don't know for sure if you can get it on, depending on where you live, it might not be available in your drugstore, but it is easy to get online and it's super cheap. It's $7. So the only problem is, I don't know what brush I'm going to use for this. The only thing that I am going to be using that is not drugstore prices is the Anastasia Beverly Hills No. 12 brush, because this is what I have to use for dip brow or pomade in my brows, and I have not been able to find anything that I like or that is even close in drugstore. So, you know what I didn't do is pluck my brows before I did this. I always tap off my brush when I'm going in with shadow, and I just picked up pomade and tapped it on my finger. So something that we're going to be focusing on in this look is just kind of enhancing your natural features. Just keeping your makeup really, really light and natural looking, especially with the face. And then just adding like a couple little pretty details here and there, except for our brows. Our brows are going to be fake. Real fake. All right, I'm going to be using some BH brushes. They're not exactly drugstore, like you can't exactly find them in the drugstore, but they're really, really affordable. I really hope you can't hear my neighbor's TV right now. It's like right there. Any of you guys who don't follow me on Instagram and haven't been in my live streams, you need to get on that because we have so much fun. All right, so as always, I have to layer concealer. I have to do it underneath my eyes. I have really dark circles. You can see I mean, that barely did anything because they're very dark. So I am going to go in with a little bit more of that concealer, and then I'm going to set underneath my eyes with the Maybelline Fit Me powder in Classic Ivory. I was trying to find a translucent powder, but I couldn't find one anywhere. So if you have any suggestions for translucent powders or something that's going to be a little bit more lightweight, because this is a foundation, please let me know. and then set it. And I'm using an e.l.f. blush brush to do this. So for me, this is where I need the fullest coverage because I don't have terrible breakouts, but I have very dark circles. So this is where I go kind of hard, is along the sides of my nose and underneath my eyes. I'm gonna use that powder to set not the rest of my face, but just the areas where I would get oily. So my forehead and basically my T-zone. All right, for my lids, I'm gonna use the tiniest bit of concealer and a BH8 brush. So I don't know why I just put all of that away, but I'm just gonna pick up the tiniest amount to do a little bit of pigment cancellation. Just a little bit, just like a small amount, just to make it look natural. And I'm gonna set the crease and up, and you will see why later on. To contour, I'm using the Nude Rose palette by BH. Again, can't exactly find this in the drugstore, but it's super affordable and you can get it online. It's also available in Ulta, I believe. So I'm gonna be using this shade right here to do a light contour. Should I contour first? Yeah, I guess I will, whatever. And I'm using the BH number 3 brush. If you're wondering why I'm using a bunch of BH products, it's because I received some stuff from them and it's super affordable and I've been loving everything. Just like the smallest amount to make my cheekbones pop out a little bit because we don't want to go in with a lot of product. That's another reason that I'm not using creams, because powders can be much more lightweight. I'm gonna use that BH number 8 brush to contour my nose. You don't have to contour your nose, especially if you're doing a lightweight look. It's kind of a security blanket for me. I have to do it, but I am going to keep it pretty lightweight. I'm gonna take that same shade using the BH number 6 brush, and I'm just gonna run a little bit of that along my lower lash line. I love using a contour color as an eyeshadow. That's what I do, I would say like 98% of the time. And just add a little bit of definition to the crease. You don't even need to do this, but I have semi-hooded lids, and I like to kind of add a little bit of a crease because otherwise I can look a bit tired. So for my lid, I'm going to use a little bit of the NYX Lingerie, I almost said liquid lipstick, what's this called? NYX Lid Lingerie, right? NYX Lid Lingerie. And this is in the shade Gold Standard. I love this because it's super lightweight. You only need like a tiny little bit. So I'm just going to put a little bit on each lid and then just kind of blend that out with a brush. What's great about this stuff is that it's a very lightweight cream. So it's quick and easy. You don't have to deal with any fallout. You could even just pat it on with your fingers and it adds a really pretty sheen to the lid. They have all kinds of colors. I'm gonna be using the BH Cosmetics Satin Bronzer in Tropical Tan. And I'm gonna be using their number 2 brush. Actually, no, I'm not gonna use their brush. I'm gonna use the Morphe E33 brush. So I'm gonna use a light hand. I'm tapping off the excess product and then I'm gonna use a light hand to apply this. So I wanna add significant color, but I don't, again, wanna be going in with too much product. All right, for blush, I'm gonna be using the L'Oreal True Match blush. This is my favorite blush of all time. This is in the shade Precious Peach. And then for highlight, I'm gonna be using this baked highlighter by J.Cat Beauty. This is in the shade Moonlight. It's a really beautiful pale gold color. And then of course, my favorite Morphe Y14 brush. All right, I'm gonna finish off the eyes. I'm gonna be using the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara. You can do just mascara or you can go in with falsies. I'm gonna be going in with falsies because I had a mishap with a lash curler, and you'll be able to see some bald spots right in the center of my eyes. So I actually need to get a new lash curler. I don't know how obvious it is on this eye, but these are like cut in half. First time that's ever happened to me. As far as drugstore mascaras go, oh, see, it's really obvious on this eye. Can you see that? It's so bad. Anytime you see me doing my lower lashes on camera, it's fake. I have to get so close to the mirror to be able to do them, so. Were it not for my impaired upper lashes, I would definitely wear this without falsies. But for falsies, I'm going to be using my favorite drugstore lashes. These are Kiss Ritzy. Pretty much all of the drugstore stuff that I get, or that I use often, I get on Amazon. So these are really accessible on Amazon, but the first time I saw these was in a CVS. So while I'm waiting for this lash glue to get tacky, I'm going to set my brows with Kiss Top of Brow Clear Brow Gel. If you can't find the Kiss Ritzies, Ardell Demi Wispies are a really, oh, these Demi? Or they're just Wispies? These are just Wispies, but they're a really good option too, and you can pretty much find them everywhere. They're like everybody's go-to. For lips, I'm going to be lining them with, actually I'm using all NYX products here. I'm going to be lining them with the NYX Nude Beige Lip Pencil. You guys have seen this a bunch of times, it's my favorite. All right, and then I'm going to be using the Lingerie Liquid Lipstick in the shade Satin Ribbon. I'm going to do sort of a light layer of this and then just pat it out with my finger. I like doing that because it just makes it feel more lightweight on the lips. And if you want to stop here, you can, but I'm actually going to take a little bit of the Butter Gloss and Creme Brulee, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to use the applicator. I'm just going to put a little bit, ow. I'm just going to put a little bit of it on the tip of my finger and then just pat it in. So layering products will make it last much longer, but patting it in with your finger, you're using the tiniest amount. So it's going to feel more comfortable and lightweight. You can also just use a lip balm, which is what I usually do, but I wanted to try the gloss. All right, and to finish off, since I'm not allowed to use my Kat Von D Lock It Setting Mist, I'm very out of my comfort zone today without using Tarte Shape Tape and without using Kat Von D, but I'm going to be using the Kiss New York Professional, Kiss NY Pro Touch Makeup Setting Spray. Smells like the beach. All right guys, that's it for this look. It's really easy. Like I said, it's super lightweight, it's comfortable, but it's pretty. This is actually kind of out of my comfort zone with these kinds of looks. I would typically not wear like a bright shimmery shadow on my lids without having like a full face of intense contour and beat. But I really do like it. I think it's perfect for like summer pool parties or anytime that you want to go out and you want to look a little bit more refreshed. You don't have to wear color on your lids. You don't have to wear the gloss or the liquid liner, but the rest of it is just nice, fresh skin. It's going to feel lightweight and it's not going to be heavy. It doesn't even feel like I'm wearing anything. You're just slightly enhancing your natural features without having to be uncomfortable in the summer heat, especially if you live in humid climates, because I used to, and I remember what that's like. All right guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share and subscribe. As always, if you have any suggestions for future videos, you can leave them in the comments down below. You can follow me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. That will all be listed down below. And hopefully I will see you in the next one. In the summertime without... Is it supposed to come out? You've heard me. My computer was just possessed. All right guys, as always,